part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Vol Card Show, Season 2, Episode. What are we on? What are we at?
Just 4 or 5? I don't know. I lose track.
This just doesn't feel the same. It's a little bit weird.
We're not in the same room. This is the first time
not
we
in the same
recorded
room.
a podcast, not in the same room.
And they say absence makes the heart grow fonder, Gary.
Does it?
I don't know.
No.
I don't feel it yet. I don't feel it yet.
You know what?
But-
I feel relief that I don't have to drink any of that butter cake moonshine.
You know, I do too. I have been eating healthy for 2 straight days now. And
Wow.
feel
Get
like-
it?
I feel like my body's pretty much cleansed out. But yeah, butter cake moonshine is not on the list of approved foods.
What did
Well,
I
what
say
I'm
to you a
trying to-
couple weeks ago that had you laughing so hard? We were talking about and I said, yeah, being fat's not that bad.
It's not that bad.
It's not that. I don't want to be like grossly fat, but like
Right.
my level of fat, it's not that bad.
It's all right. It is also disgusting, but we're glad that you're joining us wherever you are with the Ball Card Show, whatever episode this is. I think it's 4. I think it's 4.
That sounds right.
I think it's episode 4, season 2. And man, are we in the middle of like the lull of sports or what? We've got baseball. We don't know what's going to happen there. I haven't heard anything unless something happened today. Basketball, all-star break, all-star weekend. Football, nobody's thinking about for a little while, for the most part. I mean,
Right.
what's going on in the world of sports? Olympics, I'll be honest with you.
Don't
Not
care.
impressed with the Winter Olympics this year.
Don't care. I never
Yeah.
have. Occasionally I want to watch curling. I like to watch the ski jump just on the off chance that somebody crashes and burns because I find
Right.
that entertaining.
It's like watching NASCAR. You do it for the crashes.
Yeah, but in general, the Winter Olympics is horrifyingly boring to me.
Yeah. I agree.
There are people that
Um,
get off on it, but I'm not
I
one
like
of
the
them.
half pipe too. The snowboarding.
Well,
but-
because there's a chance that somebody could just
Maybe that's
get
it.
wrecked. Yeah,
Maybe it's
absolutely
just
get
the
wrecked.
carnage,
Yeah, I don't want to see anybody die, but severe injury, I'm okay with.
All right. That's respect.
Too
respect.
far?
Yeah, maybe just a little bit. This is gonna be one that's just kind of all over the place. I can feel it right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, like you said, we're in this weird spot. Baseball, we spent a ton of time last week talking about baseball. I could talk about baseball prospects till my eyes bleed and our listeners' ears bleed, but nobody wants to hear just hour after hour of baseball prospects, I don't
Right.
think.
Right.
Basketball, as far as the sports card market goes, it's in a weird spot right now. So for the last probably 3 to 4 years, basketball has been on this huge upward trend.
Mhm.
And now everything's just kind of plateaued. There's nothing
Yeah.
crazy going on with basketball. The rookie class this year, there's some quality, but there's no crazy, just burning bright superstars. It doesn't look like the best player out of the draft right now might be Evan Mobley. And you know how the hobby
Mhm.
feels about bigs.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah.
doesn't take off, and it hurts that there's only one pro uniform product out right now, and it's freaking hoops, which
Yeah.
is what it is. But if you're out there buying hoops raw cards right now, paying what they're going for just because it's the only pro uni card out, you're doing it wrong.
You're doing it wrong for sure.
100%.
And just the retail prices on some of them. So you and I talked about a few around Ohio where we live. You got your Target, your Walmart, your Meijer. Meijer seems to have a little more inventory, but as we were discussing, it's because they're charging a little more.
Yeah, they're 10 to 15% higher than everywhere else.
So a fat pack's $10.
Yeah, instead of 7.
It's not great if you're buying enough to rip for a while. But anyway, what do we want to jump into? I mean, I think we're going to talk about some acquisitions, some stuff we picked up, stuff we've been selling. This will be a little more hobby focused than maybe some of our other stuff, which has just been more current event. But before we jump into that, just a quick reminder, the Ball Card Show is brought to you by the Press Play Podcast Network. Recently, they just did a live show up in Cleveland for All-Star Weekend. A lot of fun stuff going on there. If you haven't checked it out yet,
Where was our invite for that?
we were invited. We need to pay attention.
Oh, We should probably pay more attention.
We should pay
to, like,
attention. That's
our network.
That's not our. I mean, that's not anybody else's fault. That's our fault. So,
Okay.
but anyway, there's a lot of good content on there. A lot of sports related and some non-sports stuff as well. And then excited just down the pipeline. We're kind of testing out recording tonight. We've got some guests lined up that I think you'll be excited to meet and hear from. And then also we'll be doing some guest content with some of the other Press Play shows as well. So a lot coming up there. Make sure to check it out. But let's jump in, just talk about a few acquisitions. I know you have one you're super excited about. I think we should just jump right into it. It's gold.
So right now, with everything being in a lull, especially with NFL just ending, there are some really good deals to be had. I picked up a Jamar Chase gold number to 10. I think it's numbered 7 of 10. It's not in a high-end product. It's out of the new playoff product, but I love the rookie wave set. And that's what this was. I got it for like $100, which was to me just an absolute stone cold steal. And I'll send it in to it. May be one of the few cards that I actually send to PSA because it's probably going to be something that I want to move. But now if I get it and it's not super clean, I'm not spending 100 or 150 bucks to try to get it graded from PSA. I'll send it somewhere else. But I picked that up. I picked up a LaMelo rated rookie, just a Donruss and a CSG 9.5 for like $20, $24, which I thought was a steal as well. Pro tip, weekday afternoons Eastern time, you can find some steals on eBay on auctions because everybody's at work and nobody's paying attention. So you can find some steals at that period of time. You can also find some steals if you want to set your alarm for 4 o'clock in the morning or 5 o'clock in the morning Eastern time and jump on. People list things and they end them at weird times and you can be the beneficiary.
Yeah. I have always leaned more towards buy it now, but there's a lot better deals on those auctions if you wait till that last minute. I just get frustrated when I get outbid close to the end. I'm like, oh, we're going to play this game. I was so excited. Right. But it's definitely worth keeping an eye out for it. See what you can find. For me, I scored some wax. I haven't done this in a while. And it's been a minute since I've seen sealed wax. Especially like the vintage stuff is decent. So as you listeners know, if they've been listening for a while at all, Gary and I both work on garage doors. So I'm working on one, talking to clients, building rapport. And one of them had like a collection of like die cast cars or something. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember those were really popular, especially the NASCAR, blah, blah, blah. I'm a collector of all kinds of stuff. And I brought up cards and the guy goes, oh yeah, my buddy across the street has a whole collection he's been trying to get rid of. You don't say. So he's like, I'll introduce you and see if, and you never know what you're going to get. I meet the guy and he's like, I collected, I got stuff from 60s, 70s, and I quit right around 93. A lot of sealed stuff. So I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this could be gold mine. Go in there, take a look. He's got it in like 2 or 3 different closets. I can barely take a look at it. But he did let me look through some sealed stuff. Nothing crazy. But I did grab some early 90s basketball stuff there. 91, 92 Series 1 hoops, 91, 92 Upper Deck, some Skybox, both 90, 91 and 91, 92. So, and then the 89 baseball set that has the Griffey, all sealed.
The Bowman, right?
Yeah. Bowman.
You got a heck of a deal on that stuff too.
Yeah, I did. I was pretty pleased with it. And I even looked up the comps and shoved the guy right in front of him. I think, I did pretty well on it, but they were just sitting around for him. There's a good chance I'll get the rest of that collection later. But we'll see what he's got. If it's all junk, I'm not too excited. If it's all junk wax, but I saw enough early to mid 80s stuff in some binders to think that he may have a good bit of 70s baseball, which I'm more excited about.
Well, I called dibs on all the non-sports stuff.
No, you heard me say that he's got some 70s Star Wars stuff.
I got real excited.
He's like, all right, so whenever we look at this together, I said, you need to calm down. Because I don't remember.
There was that you bought a giant collection. And if you remember, the conversation was the next time that happens, we'll work on it together.
I don't remember we'll work on it together. I remember I will not forget about you. And that usually doesn't mean I will let you cherry pick off the top the most lucrative things that I have.
I just want the non-sports stuff. You can
yeah. Oh, are you a big Star Wars guy? I don't remember that conversation ever happening. However, I also didn't
non-sports
know
guy.
that you've been in the Elks Lodge since you were 20 something years old.
Well, you got to pay more attention to things.
No, pay more attention. You never referenced it. And I thought you had to be over the age of 65 and your house has to smell like mothballs for you to be in the
No,
Elks Lodge.
you never asked me if I was an elk.
Why would I? Why would anyone?
Well, exactly. But so why would I bring it up? It's not one of those things you just like randomly. If I had just randomly sitting in conversation said to you, hey, by the way, I'm a member of the Elks, that wouldn't have ended well.
Well, this didn't end well either.
It would have been roasting. Well, the end of the night ended well. I was the one that won all the money. This came out while we were playing poker the other night, right?
Yeah.
I'm talking about games that we played at the Elks. And everybody's like, what do you mean at the Elks? I'm like, I'm an elk. And there was this whole huge thing. Evidently, all my friends didn't know I was an elk.
Well, I think it's definitely for people much older than you. But I'm
I'm old on the inside, and I have
Yeah.
been my whole life.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. Anyway, I was excited to pick up some wax. I haven't decided if I'm flipping or ripping. I'm likely going to flip, but there's part of me that the nostalgia of like early 90s basketball, the packs, still get excited
Listen,
for Jordan.
I had a box of 87 Fleer baseball sitting on my shelf for 2 years. And about a week ago, I finally broke down and ripped it.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did. And it was a blast. It was so much fun. I tell you what, I forgot how good the all-star inserts looked in that set. Do you remember those?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
That's just such a clean, just a nice design. That's Gary Carter. It's a good set. Pulled a couple of Bo Jackson rookies in there. Barry Larkin. Trying to think of who else I pulled out of that. There were 2 or 3 really nice little cards. It was a fun rip. It took me back to my childhood.
Nice. Yeah, I also sold some cards. You helped me out with this one.
I did.
In that collection, there were some Pokemon cards, 1999. What did I say? Wizards of West Coast Customs last time. But sent them off to PSA to get graded. I think at that point, PSA, I think it was like between $50 and $75 each. But I got a PSA 6 Charizard, Hollow, a PSA 6. What was it?
Bulbasaur?
Venusaur.
Venusaur.
And then a
the Bulbasaur's a
Blastoise,
GMA, right?
Which those are the only ones I know. Yeah. So I just sold that lot. I did pretty well on it, but if I would have been able to get that back from PSA last February, I would have been able to do more than double what I did.
Well,
so it's kind of sad to see that.
Let's be fair to PSA. You've been sitting on those for 6.5 months.
But everything took a dive right before I got it back.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, yeah, it was already hit. I had them up on eBay and left them there for a while, hoping that somebody would realize what a killer deal it was. And I just kept watching the comps drop. So ended up doing a sale with a collector that he has a shop, right? Does non-sports
Yeah,
stuff.
Daryl. Hey, if you're listening, Daryl, what's up?
Yeah, Daryl, thanks for the purchase. Hope you enjoy those. Brings you great joy and more likely some money. So yeah, that was a lot of the big stuff happening for me. I'm putting on the finishing touches of being done going through this massive collection I had. It was 46 of the big boxes, big team boxes.
The 4 rows, the monsters.
Yeah. 46 of those, which is a lot of cards. I'd gone through them initially to pull out the big ones, and I separated all the Hall of Fame vets, cool inserts. It doesn't have to have a lot of value, but basically anything that's like now $1 to $5 value. And now I'm pulling all of those out and then trying to sell a massive amount of commons and Hall of Fame based stuff. So
186,000 cards is what was in that collection.
Dang, homie.
Yeah. You like that math I did in my head real fast?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. I'm actually sorting through Arizona Cardinal stuff as we speak. I'm just hoping that there's a Fitzy rookie just sitting in there. But so far it's not been great. I found a few Matt Leinart rookies.
Big name.
Josh McCown.
Almost the head coach of the Texans.
Yeah. Nothing too
Well,
exciting.
there's something we can talk about. Let's talk about the Texans hiring Lovie Smith to be their head coach.
Go
which
ahead.
in
Take
and
it
of
away.
itself is not that big of a deal. Lovie Smith has had success in the NFL. He wasn't very good at college, but it was at Illinois, so who cares? It's Illinois. But here's what was crazy about the Texans hiring Lovie Smith. And it's because it's the Texans. They're just such a wreck of an organization. They're the new Bengals, right?
Oof. They're the new
Lovie-
old Bengals.
Lovie Smith was on the Texans staff last year. He was the assistant head coach. They then went and interviewed 7 more candidates over almost a month, had narrowed it down to where everything was pointing to them making an announcement that they were hiring this certain person. And then literally the next day, they're like, oh, by the way, we're hiring the guy that's been here for 18 months. Peace.
A very foregone conclusion.
Yeah. I mean, so let's all take a moment and just in our minds make fun of the Texans for being just an absolute wreck of an organization.
Yeah, it's bad.
So there's some sports conversation.
Yeah. Any more rumors about the possibility of Russell Wilson down in Tampa Bay?
No, the most recent rumor that I heard was Russell Wilson to the Eagles.
Okay. All right.
Which would be interesting. I figure it would likely take a package of Jalen Hurts and 2 to 3 first-round picks.
Mm-hmm.
But the Eagles have that. It's just a question of whether they would pay for it. I will say that I think with the talent that they have on that team, Russell Wilson makes them a playoff team pretty fast.
Yep.
I'm just not sure I can see the Seahawks being willing to trade him inside the conference.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see what happens there for sure. Well, I'm thinking about too, the Steelers did pick up Brian Flores to be assistant to the regional manager, is what the title sounded
and the
like.
linebackers coach.
Linebacker and defensive assistant head of the regional manager.
Yeah.
Which honestly, a lot of people were immediately trying to cancel him or saying he is going to be canceled by the higher ups and we won't see him anymore in the league. So I was happy to see that. I was happy to see he got picked up. Steelers seems to be an organization that doesn't get too concerned with the pressure as it's a family run business. And everything I've heard about people being involved in that front office or a part of that team is that they really do run it like a small family business. So they kind of just do what they want.
For the most part, yeah. And the bigger thing with the Steelers is this, and it's one of the reasons that they have, in my opinion, have had the success that they've had. One of the things that a lot of NFL owners struggle with, and I can see why it's a struggle, because these are billionaires, right? They are billionaires who made lots of money, several of them in multiple different types of businesses. It's hard for them to admit that when it comes to the sport of football and running a team, that they're not the smartest guy in the room.
Fair.
And the owners who are able to do that are the owners whose teams have the most long-term sustained success. The Rooney family lets the football people do the football things.
Mm-hmm.
They don't interject into anything. They don't react quickly. They don't fire head coaches. Like you think about it, the Steelers have had 3 head coaches since 1968.
That's wild. That is wild.
They've had Chuck Noll, they've had Bill Cowher, and they've had Mike Tomlin.
Yep.
There are teams in the NFL that have had 3 coaches in the last 4 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when you've got teams that recognize stuff, then they let people that are football people make football decisions. Brian Flores is one hell of a football coach.
Yep.
How insane would you have to be as a team to go, yeah, we don't need a fantastic football coach on our staff? But there are a lot of owners out there that are pissed that he filed this lawsuit and they won't let the football people make football decisions. That's why the Cowboys probably won't be back in a Super Bowl anytime soon, because Jerry Jones can't stay out of the way.
He loves it.
He's not the smartest guy in the room, not by any stretch of the imagination. Sorry, Cowboys fans.
He is the wealthiest in the room.
Well, that's true, but you watch NFL teams, being wealthy doesn't mean that you're going to be good. All those guys are wealthy. At a certain point, it doesn't matter anymore. I mean, what's the difference between 5 billion in the bank and 50 billion in the bank? Does the guy with 5 billion in the bank, is there anything he can't buy?
This is getting deep.
Yeah, that's my point. Like at a certain point, it doesn't matter whether you're the richest guy, you're in the assemblage of the richest guys.
Yeah, but if I had a chance to be the richest guy and I was in the mix, I'd probably want to go for it.
Really?
if I had 5 billion and I was just 45 billion away,
You just go put 5 billion on the blackjack table and let it ride. See if you
yeah,
can
I don't know what the
triple up
limit
real quick.
is. I don't know what casino would go for that, but whew, that'd be a record for sure.
They take your action.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, anyhow, totally off the rails. Like Jason said, this episode's going to be totally off the rails this week.
Yeah, this Zoom thing's not quite the same. We'll get it figured out.
Yeah, we're not in the same room.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the Wander Madness. We touched on it last week. We're still
It's gotten worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's gotten
There's-
worse.
So I saw on a thread you were commenting the actual number of Wander rookies that are out there just in this product.
Well, just the base Wander rookie. The math checks it to about 750,000 printed.
Yeah. And what are
Which-
what are the raw cards selling for right now?
18
Base.
to 25 bucks.
Yeah.
And one thing I do want to point out, people that are in the hobby right now are going to hear that number and go, "Oh my God, we're back in a junk wax era, blah, 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 blah." Anybody who actually was around for the junk wax era will tell you that we're not even close. The 1989 Upper Deck Ken Griffey Jr. It is a conservative estimate that there were 5 million of that card printed.
Million. For years it was printed.
Yeah, a conservative estimate that there were 5 million of that card printed. We are not in a junk wax era. One really interesting thing that I heard the other day. So the CEO of Fanatics did an interview and he was talking about the future of the hobby and what his vision for things were. And he wants to grow because he was talking about the market cap of the hobby, and it's about a $5 billion industry with absolutely no marketing whatsoever. Panini doesn't market not at least outside of the hobby, right?
Yeah.
Fanatics wants to market. They want to bring 50 to 100 million new collectors into active buying and collecting within the first 5 years of them having the license. Now in America, if you're just thinking about America, that's a huge number, but worldwide, that's pretty realistic in my mind if somebody goes and actually markets, because think of all the people you know in your life that love sports. How many of them collect sports cards?
Yeah.
1 out of every 20. So there's a lot that I think they're going to do to bring awareness of sports cards as an actual, beyond a hobby, even as an alternative investment class to the masses. And if that happens, it doesn't necessarily matter how much is being printed as long as there's demand for it. Does that make sense? Like if there's make 750,000 Wander rookies, base tops rookies, that sounds like a big number, but if there's 800,000 people that want one, well, the seller's in control, right?
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see that. I was listening to one of the other podcasts talk about this, probably Sports Card Nonsense, but I'm not sure. It might have been Mike Geo. But just the thought of bringing cards back into the physical spaces where professional sports are, there should be a rack of cards for the kid to go into the merch, shop and at the game. There's jerseys hanging up there. You got a chance to get a card. And, I think about it as a kid. Like you wanted the Griffey rookie, but honestly, if you had any player autograph a card, your day was made.
Yeah.
And
And,
so
and
the
it needs
thought
to be
of-
not expensive.
Right,
It needs to be at a
so-
reasonable price point.
Sell those team sets, put them prominently displayed somewhere, make it a part of the evening, engage social media with it where you're in the stadium and your card gets put up on the Jumbotron of what you pulled in the shop. There's a chance to win an autograph or meet a player. And, there's so many cool things that they could do in that, massive experience where they have an ideal clientele. I think we'll see more of that. The other thing is just how prominent cards were in every random place in that junk wax era. I think we'll see more of that. I think we'll see more in displays and grocery stores, convenient marts. Like you're going to see more and more of it being out in front and marketed in some of the more traditional ways that we have. You got NFTs, you got, the crypto or flip side of this that a lot of people are into, but I think you're going to see more in the brick and mortar as well, as you're trying to capture more and more fans of sports.
Oh,
cards.
for sure. And I think that two things are going to happen with that. I think that there's going to be a pretty hard delineation between the products like that are going to be pretty readily available, and then the mid to higher end products. The serious collectors and investors are going to buy the higher end stuff, and the people that want something to rip and collect or for kids, there's going to be the opportunity for that. One of the other interesting things, and I've heard a few people talk about some different ideas, but I will tell you one thing that I would do if I was Fanatics, and I'm not. I'm just a guy that fixes garages and talks about sports cards once a week. But if I was, I would create some really interesting promos based around collecting and chasing. I would do with physical cards what a lot of the NFT projects are doing, which is like, if you go into Panini's blockchain store, every product that they release in there is a chase where if you collect all 10 of whatever cards they say need to go into this collection, you get a limited thing. And it's only the first, whatever, 100 people that accomplish it can get whatever it is.
Right.
And if you bring that to the physical space, now you can create hype and value and drive the purchase of some of your lower end products. So let's use this year's Topps as an example. They make 750,000 Wander Franco base cards, but what if Topps had a promotion where if you collect 100 Wander Franco base rookies and 10 Wander Franco foil rookies and whatever else, you can send those into Topps, and the first 100 people that do it get an of 100 autographed Wander Franco card.
Right.
Like,
You know what this is reminding me of when you're saying this?
what?
Is back when you and I were really into Madden and we would be grinding out the stadium
Ultimate
sets
Team.
and everything else. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Well, I used to talk about that back then. If you guys are video gamers, Madden and almost every esports game has a collectible NFT style marketplace where you buy packs and create your own all-star teams and everything else. And Madden was one of the first ones to do that, and then introduce collections where you could put these cards into a collection and get rewards, higher powered up things. If Fanatics brings that concept to physical trading cards, that's when I think you could see the sports card market explode. Like, you think that it's gotten bigger in the last few years. It has, but I think it could just become a cultural milieu almost. Like, it could just explode. Do you like that?
Using them $5 words.
Yeah, you like that? I think it could just explode at that point. You could even turn it into so many different things if you created that. So that's something that I think would be really cool if they do something like that.
Yeah. And I think integration with some of that prospecting would be cool too. I don't know how Fanatics could do that, but essentially, as that brand builds out, they could curate. I mean, it's going to be the opportunities there for content, which isn't their space right now, but you could link in where people can do subscription-based stuff to prospect. You thought back in the day you were doing this when you had the Beckett catalog. You thought you knew something that some people might not know because you had the latest. You had an idea on values, where they were heading, blah, blah, blah. So it'll be interesting to see if, while they kind of have a monopoly on every piece of cardboard, do they begin to integrate content information for people to, anyway, they could go really far with it for sure.
Yeah, it could get deep. And I'm just really interested to see where a lot of that stuff goes. We're still a few years out. And I think that like 2022 Topps Series 1 was likely printed and packaged before the Fanatics deal took effect. But Topps Chrome, Topps Series 2 update this year is all going to have some Fanatics fingerprints on it. So I think we'll start to at least get a feel for how they're going to do things. And also, everybody's got to remember, Fanatics as a brand, they own Lids. They own, what's the jersey store? Is that just Fanatics? But all these different like retail locations in malls where you got
Mhm.
Lids, or you go to a sports
Mhm.
game, they've got a Lid store set up. Those are all places that I think we're going to see sports cards sitting.
Yeah. Do you think we'll see more authentication directly from Fanatics?
Explain what you mean.
Authenticated jerseys, signatures.
Well, they already have all that stuff.
Yeah,
I don't
do
know
you
that
think
we're
we'll
going to see
see that
more of
more?
it. I don't know that
wonder
we'll
if-
see more of it, but I think that they could tie it into the sports cards.
Mhm.
I think they could tie it into it pretty easily. You know, you can buy a jersey, you can buy an autographed jersey, or you can buy this higher end one that comes with this limited edition autographed card of this player. I think there's some things they could do along those lines with that. We'll see. I'm sure they've got a marketing team that'll
Yeah.
put all that together.
Yeah, some interesting things are happening because I was listening to a podcast the other day, and I can't remember if it was an American Express or it was some credit card ad, but essentially they were talking about was it Halliburton that got traded?
Yeah, Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah, and
who's
if you had
a freakishly good player that everybody sleeps on. Like he's
Right.
a superstar. He's going to
And-
be a superstar.
that Kings jersey, I think the Kings jerseys are sweet just visually. And now he's going to be in Pacers gear, but essentially they were advertising, hey, if you buy a jersey through this credit card and the player gets traded within X amount of time, we'll refund you or give you a credit to buy the jersey of the new team. So, which
Yeah,
is
they got
interesting
hit.
because I think more and more people are moving to being fans of players.
Well, in the
and-
NBA especially.
Yeah, especially in the NBA, and moving a little bit away from teams. People are following storylines more, you know?
Yeah. The NBA is really bad that way. It hasn't hit the NFL as much or MLB, mostly because there's just not as much player movement in those sports.
Well, and the MLB is still 20 years behind on telling
Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they have Rob Manfred.
stories. Yeah.
Ugh.
So where are you going on vacation? Let's tell people.
We're going to go get on a cruise ship, man. Gonna jump on a boat. There probably won't be any hose though. Just gonna be a boat.
Ooh.
So like a little Step Brothers reference.
Yeah.
Roll it in there.
Prestige worldwide.
Yeah. Yeah. The what was the yacht club? What's the island? The Catalina.
Pow.
The Catalina
Catalina wine mixer.
wine mixer. That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no,
You
we're
guys,
getting on
if
a
you
boat.
guys thought that our content a minute ago was good, wait till we help each other finish quotes to movies you've seen and you're ready to answer.
Yeah,
Coming
no,
up
we're gonna-
next, we're going to pick top 40 songs and do half of a line and then stumble over the remaining lyrics.
Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Fallon already do that. I don't want to play that game anymore.
What, speaking of Jimmy Fallon, what a gig this guy got to basically lose character in every skit and laugh, which is something that actors typically would get fired from SNL for if they couldn't stay in character, but he kind of made it his thing. Which is it?
What-
Is it just acting badly? And he's been able to do that?
Goes to show that if you fully embrace whatever it is, you can get
Mhm.
away with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Don't know if that's
I
true.
fully embrace that I host a podcast, and I fully embrace that I'm not very good at it, which makes me endearing to our audience, right?
Oh, sympathy votes.
I'll take it. I'm not
Wait.
proud.
You're the grenade.
I'm not proud.
Yeah.
Never have been.
Yeah.
You're quickly losing interest in this episode.
I am. It's not the same energy. It's not my Friday. You know, if you're joining us for the first time, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
I will.
sorry.
I will say that, go back to season 2, episode 1, and kick off from there, because we had 3 bangers in a row, and
We can't just give you gold every episode.
we kind of just dropped a
you
steamer here.
You ask for this content, and I don't know if you think there's going to be a hit record, but it's not. You know,
No, this is definitely a B-side.
this is Boondock Saints 2. You know,
Oh,
This
I don't know
is-
about that.
This is Ernest Goes to Camp. This is Home Alone 3. This is The Hobbit. I'll say it. This is The Hobbit. It's not Lord of the Rings series.
Oh, so we're talking about the movies.
Yeah, I was just trying to think of duds. You know,
Oh,
Hot Shots Part 2. Actually, that one was pretty good.
Yeah.
Major League 2, bad example.
Yeah. That is a bad
Sandlot
example.
2, where the girl is a pitcher because girls can play ball now. Terrible idea.
Oh, I'll expand on that idea
So
for me.
The Sandlot was my favorite
I want to
movie
hear how you spin this.
in my childhood, The Sandlot. And in the middle of the movie, there's a big fight between, the local little league team that has like uniforms and the kids that play The Sandlot. And they go back and forth talking trash, pee drinking crap face. You make weenies with your mama's toe jam. You bob for apples in the toilet and you like it. And then finally, one of them says, "You play ball like a girl." And everything goes silent. And then the only response is tomorrow, noon at our field. Be there, Buffalo butt breath. Count on it, pee drinking crap face. I could go on with the whole movie. You get the idea, but that's a crux. You can't play ball if you're a girl. Then they do a sequel where it's a girl pitching fast pitch softball. I refuse to watch it.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
So it could be a good sequel. And hey, for those of you thinking, could I hit a really fast pitch softball? That's a whole different angle. Probably not. That's not the point of the show. And I'm saying that we're laying a dud here.
It's not the best episode we've ever had. I don't know that I would go so far as to say that it's a complete dud. It's tough because, like you said, we're in this weird spot. There's not a lot to talk about sports wise. NBA's on All-Star break. Steph threw up 50 in the All-Star game.
Mhm.
Cool, I guess.
No look. Well, I guess it was a look. He threw that one up at half court and turned around, and he was already jogging back when it went through the net. That was pretty sick.
Yeah, because he's a freak show.
LeBron
But, I mean, it is
is
what it
definitely
is.
getting out of LA. That's everything that I'm seeing. Is he's like, can we just
Already
move my
hitting
son
coming
up
back
now?
to Cleveland.
Yeah,
Already hitting coming
He
back
said,
to Cleveland.
I don't care where it is. I'll even go back to Cleveland. Is basically what he's saying.
Yeah, he wants
So.
to play one. He wants to play his last year with his kid.
Yep.
Now, here's what's crazy. By all accounts, Bronny Jr. is a good player.
Mhm.
He's like a top 50 guy.
Yeah. No pressure, Bronny. But your dad's
He's
saying you
not a
have to
top
be in the
5
league.
guy. But here's what's going to happen. That cat is going to get drafted way higher than he should
Mhm.
because whoever drafts him knows they're going to get LeBron for a year.
That's
And
really
even-
smart.
Even old LeBron is still pretty good and he'll sell a lot of tickets.
Mm-hmm.
So Bronny Jr. is going to get drafted in the first round when he should get drafted in the second round, and probably in the lottery when he should be drafted in the second round.
There's still a little more time for his stock to go up. But yeah, as it sits right now, you're right for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
So it'll be interesting when it happens.
well, that's all I got. You got anything else?
I'm going on vacation, bro.
Super jealous that you're going to be in the sun and the sand,
You were invited.
eating
Got a
all you can eat
stupid
steak.
daughter.
Yeah, I know, my
Stupid
daughter's
daughter
birthday.
It's
Good grief.
dumb.
Yeah. Well,
That's all right. I love you, Sid.
yeah, she loves you too. All right, guys.
Everybody
Thanks for
does.
joining us on this episode. I can't wait for us to have more riveting content next week
Agreed. Thanks for coming to listen to the Ball Card Show, the sports podcast.
for the Sports Collector.
Peace.